Welcome, this is Bear with Portakeeper, and this is our second look at the DF64E. I got lucky and got a demo one from Espresso Outlet a little bit early, and the whole point behind it is just to show you guys kind of the ins and outs of this grinder and do some testing on it. So this is a new model. It's the Turin grinder line, similar to the Turins that you've been seeing, the DF64 Turin grinder. But this is the new and updated one with the electronic dosing. And if you watch some of my other videos, you might notice that I like to take and look inside some espresso gear, how it's made, the build quality, how it works, and so on. So that's what this one's all about. And tonight I plan on taking this, not all the way apart, but as far apart as like what makes really economical sense. So to begin with, we'll just remove the cup. I've not done this before, so bear with me if I gotta pause the video. I just need to get a tool or something. So remove the hopper. If you haven't seen my first video, you can actually use the bellows still, so you can do either of those. And then this Allen key came with it. You probably have some laying around your house, but it came with it. And to remove the top burr, we're just going to use this Allen key and unscrew it. We have some machine screws. We'll put those to the side, and it lifts off, just like similar to the other DF64. The big difference is on this one, this top burr is fixed. On the other version, the bottom burr is what's fixed. So in this grinder, when you do the grind adjustment, it's actually moving the bottom up and down, which is really nice, because if you wanted to remove this for cleaning, you saw how easy it was, and when you screw it back down, you're really not going to lose your zero. So going next level, also I'll note, make sure to unplug it before you work on it, which it was already unplugged. And we're just going to figure out what we need to take apart. It looks like these two screws hold on the electronic display and the chute. And I know a lot of people, they've already asked, show us the clamp breaker, show us the chute, show us all this stuff that it's not really a big problem, but some of the early models, this is actually the V1, people had a couple complaints about static, and I want to break it. Okay, there is another screw hidden underneath, so pretty easy to take apart so far. Okay, much easier so far than the other DF64. So I would say be very careful. There's actually a plug. I'm just going to gently pull, and there is our electronics. Pretty easy to take off. And on this one, you can see the motor through there. I'm going to try to hold it up. And you can see the cable that comes out. So the chute itself looks like it's really easy to get to. And there is two screws. We're about to find out about your clump breaker. We're going to take those off. Now, I don't think I'm going to remove the burr carrier or the grind chamber. There's really not a whole lot to gain from that. So from the top half, this is probably about as far as we're going to go. And there we go. So, show you up close. Pretty simple chute. Nice straight shot. And now what everyone's been asking about, the clump breaker. So this is an interesting design. It looks like it's a two-piece design. Let me kind of clean it off so we can see a little better. Oh, it comes apart. This is actually really interesting. I kind of like it. So again, let's get up close, make sure it focuses. It sits together like this. This is the outward, and this is the first layer it goes through. So it breaks it, and then right there is the flap. I'm trying to make it focus for you. There's the flap. They stack together, so you're just getting some grounds off that bottom. And I didn't clean this, so let's take, I want to make sure it focused again. Had a little bit of buildup, not much. That's really not retention, that's just kind of crud buildup. So I'd say it's a lot different than the DF64. The original one, it had 2 layers like this. They're really thick, and I believe the V2 and V3 just have the single layer. I kind of forget. I have a V2 as well, but pretty easy. I mean, so far that hadn't taken very long to take apart, and I'm talking through it, so that's pretty much the whole top end. I'll do a different one about changing burrs, but to change your burrs, you're going to undo those 3 screws, pull that burr off. Same thing with your top. 3 screws, pull the burr off, do your alignment, do your burr swap, and you got some SSPs. So really easy to get to. So I guess if you wanted to take the fork off, there has been something I've been curious about. We're just going to find out together. Taking the fork off is really easy. It's just a single screw. I've been curious what this plug was. It might just be nothing. Afraid I'm gonna break it. So that's interesting. It looks to me like you can actually move your fork. Oh no, it doesn't fit. So I'm not really sure why they have the 2 different holes. This top hole is actually bigger than the bottom hole. Again, this is a prototype, so maybe the final ones will be just slightly different. What I was hoping for is you could move it up a hair. And I don't think it'd take very much to do that, but I've been curious, haven't taken that off. We'll just leave that to the side for now. Put this plug back in. And let's flip it over. A little bit of loose coffee. Okay, let's flip it. Ugh. Now, there are 4 feet. There's actually 5 feet. And I bet there's screws under them. Let's pull them off. Kind of hard to take off, but really not. So they're adhesive. They're not like the type that plug into a socket. Okay. Has all the information about the grinder on the bottom. I'm really interested about how this grind mechanism or the adjustment mechanism works. I'm thinking it's similar to the Eureka line, like the Atom 75, and trying to think of some of their other models that uses the motor goes up and down versus the top burr. So I'm thinking that's how this works. I'm going to try to take this out. It's really in there. The bottom is like a nice cast piece of metal. Okay, a little bit awkward. Try not to lose the screws. Just like that. So the electronics, if you remember from my video of this grinder, it had some really basic electronics. It basically just prevented it from running forever. So in this one, we have a starting capacitor and just some basic power regulation stuff. So really simple. Just a sec. Got that caught up. Let's see. Next, we're going to try to go just a little bit deeper on this. Wish this wasn't so tight. You really shouldn't need to get in here, but it's definitely not the most roomy or easy to get into. So there's actually 3 screws inside here, and they'd be hard to show you, but they're just standard Phillips head screws. There's one more up here. This is going to be a lot harder to get to. Can't tell if there's anything else holding it in. Maybe they're just really long screws. They feel loose, but I think they're just very long. That one feels like it's out. Let's go after this one. Okay. Again, you don't have a whole lot of room to stretch these wires, but this is how this adjustment mechanism works. And it looks like they've marked it where the 0 point is, and then it moves from side to side, and it actually has limits, little stoppers. And I'm not real sure how this works yet, but I think what you do, and I don't really want to mess mine up because it should be dialed in for espresso, but as far as I know, you can loosen up this nut and you can shift this bottom piece to make it go coarser. So if you're wanting to use this for just espresso, it should come from the factory setup for espresso. If you're wanting to use it maybe just for drip and you're not getting the range that you're wanting out of the grinder, you might have to adjust this a little bit. Definitely make sure to mark your existing 0 spot. Maybe use a different color Sharpie for your drip. You're not going to want to do this very often, but in my opinion, this is just kind of like a sole purpose grinder. I've not done it with V60. I don't know yet. It's an espresso grinder, so that's really what I'm going to use it for, and that's what I think most people are going to use it for. But that's the main disassembly of the DF64E. Try to show you a couple things. Really high build quality, especially for the price. So there it is. Reassembly, obviously just doing it in reverse. Make sure not to over tighten anything. Really simple grinder, really high build quality, I think. So let me know in the comments what you think, if you've pre-ordered one, maybe what else you'd like to see. I'll probably do some retention videos and like how loud it is compared to the Turin. I think they're going to be almost the same. It's a very similar motor and grinder, but we can take a look. So drop some comments. Thanks for watching.